When news broke about Diddy's arrest last September, Katt Williams didn't miss a beat. He posted a viral AI mashup of Diddy's mugshot with Wesley Snipes' character from New Jack City. Diddy's about to snitch on everyone. The internet lit up with fans echoing the sentiment. If anyone's flipping, it's Diddy. But that post was just the beginning. Katt had already been dropping names for years. Tyler Perry, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, Ludacris. At the time, it seemed like random shots. But now, names like Jay-Z, Aaron Hall, and Harve Pierre are showing up in court documents tied to Diddy's case. Looking back, Katt wasn't just throwing shade. He was hinting at something deeper. Now, those offhand comedy moments are looking a lot more like warnings tied to a much bigger scandal.
Club Shay Shay, yeah. I was trying to do something there that hadn't been done. I thought that I had figured out the algorithm mathematically, and I thought that I could show that. And when I wrote it out to kill the careers of the people I was talking about, right? But it was so vicious that I erased all of the knockout blows and just left the jabs so that the comic I'm talking about knows that I know your real story. Motherfucker. I'm gonna tell this, but you know what else I know. So, yeah, I was...
Do you want to tell any of those stories now?
Well, I'm saying...
To turn down $50 million 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. T.G. Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
So Katt Williams said it. The lawsuit started coming out right after he said it, and he said all would be exposed. He heavily implied, and this is again an allegation, that Lucien Grange was having some sort of a homosexual relationship with Diddy. So he is the person that controls Diddy, that Lucien Grange was aware of these parties, that Universal Music Group was aware of these parties. Essentially, that Diddy is the thug and the gangster working on behalf of Lucien Grange. They did not know that he was recording them. I mean, when I read through that lawsuit, Rodney made it very clear that he had hidden cameras. And if you are a person like LeBron who says ain't no party like a Diddy party, you got Ashton Kutcher talking about what happens at Diddy parties stays at Diddy parties. And finally you learn via the press that actually Diddy has been collecting evidence on all of you, and you don't know where those tapes are. That will buy your silence for quite some time, because you're hoping that if you keep your head low, you're not going to be revealed as one of these people that was engaged in some of these acts, whether they were heterosexual or homosexual. It doesn't matter. Maybe you're just cheating on your wife and you don't want that to get out into the public. Maybe you were, as Katt Williams described it, in one of the rooms. He said you could just walk around the house. He said this on stage years ago, that you could walk around the house and you would see people engaged in various sex acts. And again, Katt Williams was someone who was dismissed as crazy and dismissed as a drug addict. And it turned out that, or it seems that if these allegations are proven to be true, and I believe they are, then he was telling the truth.
Do you think that like stars and get offered that kind of thing, like to compromise themselves sexually for entertainment?
I was as shocked as anybody about how powerful Harvey Weinstein was at the time that I was meeting with him, and how he could not be told no. You follow what I'm saying?
They'll figure out some way.
Right, so I thought that didn't apply to me because I don't care about nothing but bitches and good business, right? In these scary situations, I don't even leave it up to me. Like, I'm gonna do what the superhero would do in this part of the movie regardless.
That's a good way to think about things in general.
Katt Williams started by calling out Tyler Perry. At first, it just sounded like typical comedian shade, especially when he joked that Perry can't play a man to save his life. But underneath the laughs was something more. Back when Perry was grinding out his first indie scripts, it was Diddy's circle that quietly stepped in. They helped fund his debut films, arranged premieres in LA and New York, and sent out VIP invites to celebrities eager for a first look. These behind-the-scenes boosts never made headlines, but they mattered. It's not something Perry talks about, but the truth is, Diddy played a quiet but crucial role in his early rise.
I heard that you bought a military base in Alabama. Is that true? A military base?
As starving comedians would do.
Now, I don't know if you're being truthful or not. Did you really buy one?
Yeah, Fort McClellan. Yeah,
What?
because the reason why like my life works in golf and off the golf course is because I follow instruction well, right? So if I see somebody do a good job, I just want to do a good job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow the example.
Yeah.
Right? So Tyler Perry got a military base.
That's correct.
Made it into a movie studio and started making movies. Katt Williams.
Bought a military base. Are you making movies?
I'm not wearing dresses. Yeah.
At what point in Tyler Perry's career was he Samuel L. Jackson or Denzel Washington? Which are the only two black men I can think of that never had a dress on.
Yeah, but I don't think it's about
At one point, it is about that. It is about that because he's the only black man that we already established has $1 billion for making movies. He's the only black man with his own studio, but he's also putting out material where he got a goddamn dress on every year.
because
Every time you turn around, at every iteration of his success, be it the plays that took over and got him popular, be it the shit that he did on TBS, be it the first movies that he did, be it the movies that he does now. So what is his excuse for doing Madea content now?
because there's an audience for it.
There's an audience for it.
There is an audience.
There's an audience for it.
There is
because
Tyler Perry told his male actors they're not allowed to consort with me because I saw you at a Diddy party, Tyler. And you were having a glorious time. I spent a lot of time in Miami and I snuck around Star Island quite a bit. I know Christian isn't lying, but I need him to tell me what happened to my friends. And I don't care how long it's been since I talked to them. They will always be my friends. Always. Tim and Durrett and Lamont Rucker were not the same after they went on camera with Tyler Perry. Christian, I think you can tell me why.
Ricky Smiley got his first real taste of the entertainment world at Diddy's exclusive Atlanta parties, invite-only events where Puffy's inner circle controlled who got in. Ricky managed to land on that list, and from there, he carved out a path to radio success and eventually landed a hit TV show. Katt Williams once joked that Smiley only shines in a dress, but the joke carried more than humor. It was a subtle nod to something deeper. Ricky's rise in the industry started long before the public heard his voice, and much of it was shaped by the actor.
Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role.
But when you reported a long time ago that Jamie, that he mysteriously got sick, mysterious, and they were saying that allegedly was Diddy, but how do you, but when you reported that back then, months ago, did you say, what was that in your reporting? Yeah, they were saying that Diddy, because Diddy and Jamie Foxx were good friends, and they broke up, and they stopped being friends, and no, I'm just telling you what they said. Who's they? They that wait. They that wait on the Lord. They that wait. You put the face out there. All right, y'all, we gonna wrap up the house.
I Googled you to see what are the questions that people are wanting to know. Is Ricky Smiley married?
No.
Have you ever been married?
I was married.
Oh, you were?
I was married for 12 years.
When?
Man, I was married back.
Did I know you?
Back in the 90s. I think we probably had met and had been around each other, but my ex-wife, we were still close. She's a flight attendant for Delta.
Oh, okay.
And we was married. We was young. And
I didn't know he was right there. I would not have said that if I had said that. Yeah. I'm not used to quiet, introspective Katt Williams.
No.
But let me ask you this. When have you ever seen this many heavy hitters all together at the same time? In the same room. Yeah.
Right.
All right, Jen is with me now to talk about another story making headlines today.
Yeah, so this one is actually sparked by these pictures. That's 49-year-old P. Diddy with his hand on his girlfriend's belly. Now, that is 22-year-old Lori Harvey. They're in Cabo. She's, of course, talk show host Steve Harvey's stepdaughter. People are talking about maybe she could be pregnant. You know, he's rubbing her belly a little bit, but...
She's put up some Instagrams, I think, that show some clues. Sushi, right? Sushi, a bad thing for pregnancy.
It could go either way. But then also she posted this picture of green juice, which, you know, why would you want a flatter tummy if you really can't avoid it because you're carrying a child?
Ooh, this is conflicting evidence. Okay. Lori was once actually linked to Diddy's son, Justin.
Okay.
Okay, so they were together and then engaged a couple years ago to a Dutch soccer player. She told Carissa Thompson about how he popped the question.
We were in Malibu. I remember the time. It was 11:30. I thought it was a joke. And then he went in his pocket and I started shaking.
They split up later on that year. Lori and Sean were actually spotted with her dad, Steve, on a boat in Italy earlier on this summer.
That's all. Well, then that's it. He's given the blessing.
The reach even extends into church walls. Bishop T.D. Jakes once preached at a gospel concert sponsored by Diddy's team, a flashy event complete with platinum seats, velvet ropes, and press backdrops that made it feel more like a record release than a religious gathering. Behind the scenes sat executives from Music XX and influencers personally selected by Bad Boy's PR squad. Katt Williams called out Jakes as one of the high-profile figures who could be exposed. It may sound surprising at first, but it highlights a larger truth. Diddy's empire blurred the lines between pop culture and faith, blending them under a single twisted brand of influence.
On that list. And, you know, Katt Williams, I don't know if he's a Christian or not. I don't think he is. His mouth would say maybe he's maybe has faith, but he's bearing fruits of repentance. But that podcast got well over millions and millions of views because he just blasted the industry. And basically the whole thing is your career's here. If we give you money and you join in on this debauchery, you join in on this sodomy, you join in on this pedophilia, you join in on these rituals, your career will go from here to here. And that's actually been seen if you look at a lot of different careers, including Taylor Swift's. She actually started rubbing shoulders with P. Diddy a long time ago, and then all of a sudden her career changed.
We also know that T.D. Jakes is allegedly also a power bottom. And he's a much older man. And they say he's very enthusiastic in his endeavors. What happens when he pops something loose? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because they're mentioning sex workers, but they're not mentioning women. They're mentioning men as sex workers.
Yeah.
Like is that a thing where like there's a website? I mean, what? It's just wild to hear like you mentioned the
You never heard of Grindr?
I personally have not. That is what.
Why don't nobody ever talk about the fact that TD Cakes has an account allegedly on Grindr?
Then there's Ludacris. Katt Williams tied his success to the Illuminati, joking that only an organization like that could land someone a $200 million contract. It's a mix of myth and comedy, but underneath the exaggeration are real connections. Ludacris and Diddy have collaborated for years, appearing on each other's albums, performing together at major festivals, and sharing the stage during Biggie tribute shows. These moments reveal a long-standing bond built on trust and mutual benefit. Katt might wrap it in wild conspiracy talk, but you don't need secret handshakes or symbols to see the truth. Their partnership runs deep.
He turned down $50 million 4 times.
No, he didn't.
To protect his integrity and his virgin hole.
No, he didn't. He did that. He did that to say that Kevin Hart took $50 million to unvirgin his hole.
Can you explain a little bit?
No, I just told you what happened with that.
So you don't believe Katt when he says that he turned down $50 million 4 times?
No, I believe that was a punch at what he did, what Kevin Hart did for that movie Get Hard. He showed y'all what he did. He sucked Will Ferrell's It took it hard. Now he's high. Now he's acting all hard. Every picture he just short. He wasn't ready. All that. It's the same thing.
I said it, and this sums it up well. Like you don't entertain the circus, you watch it, right? And when a lion comes out and rides the bike, you don't think about it too hard. You just go, okay, that's crazy. The lion's riding the bike, and then you go home and enjoy the rest of your day. I don't feed into the stuff at all. At the end of the day, it's all entertainment to a certain degree. So you just hope that people can be smart enough and have a tremendous amount of logic to just go and possibly do research or fact check. And if they do, then great. If they don't, then kudos to that as well. I just don't have the time for it. There's too much going on.
In my opinion, one of the ones that affects me the most is Justin Bieber.
Do you have the Kevin Hart one?
Which is odd, Pat, because he gets caught saying that he would wake up next to him and then he changes it and says we would fight off over the Frosted Flakes. Even Kevin Hart is uncomfortable because you're admitting that you were sleeping next to a freaking child. And it's like, I'm tired of hearing all these stories and people just laugh about it. We giggle. Like, this is it right here.
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was
10 years
a little
old.
bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted
He'd wake up
Flakes.
to
because
Usher.
He used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest songs in the world. And
What the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's going to acknowledge this with me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live.
Justin Combs found himself at the center of serious allegations, accused of organizing wild parties that reportedly involved underage girls. The situation escalated quickly when federal agents raided his residence and took him into custody in handcuffs. Though the incident made headlines and stirred public outrage, no formal charges were ever filed. Still, the shadow of the accusations continues to follow him, tying his name even closer to the growing storm surrounding his father.
No, so we were both invited to an Illuminati thing. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person they said was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams. I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money they give? 200.
Sir, Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
10.
Did you start to worry any about your own safety and stuff?
Well, what it was that I was attempting to do was impossible. So before I do this interview, there is no Illuminati. It's just a joke. It's just something that crazy people talk about. There's no such thing as our side and God's side. None of that is even real. Yeah. I gotta come and make it real. So that's why when I said that, nobody came out and went, that's not true. I'm on God's side. If part of the ritual is wearing a dress, then we should be able to look through entertainment and see all of these people being made to wear a dress.
Yeah, you don't see the dog catcher show up every other year.
Like, it's not a thing.
In a nice skirt, or you don't see an electrician.
This isn't just internet gossip or wild speculation. These claims are backed by court documents, federal indictments, and sworn testimony. As the legal battles push forward toward trial in May 2025, each name tied to the case shows just how wide and deep Diddy Combs' empire really runs. Whether these celebrities were knowingly involved or simply caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, one thing is clear. When Katt Williams says he's exposing everyone in Diddy's inner circle, he's not just throwing out names. He's drawing from the same legal records that outline a troubling pattern of alleged misconduct.
In a case like this, obviously, you're not making any kind of a dynamic entry. This isn't a hostage situation, right? Where that's not what's happening here. However, they did know that there would be weapons there, armed security, those kinds of things. That's why you saw those warrants being served by, for the most part, a tactical SWAT team. Simply, that is procedure to keep everyone safe. A lot of people were frustrated when they saw the video that came out of the warrant, that his home was, in, I guess, disarray. But again, and I had said this before, my gut said they were looking for digital evidence, which is in that indictment. There's a lot of mentions to digital evidence. And that's why they tore up couch cushions. That's why they made holes in walls. They were looking for flash drives, tiny devices, where these things were stored. And so all of that is done methodically. It's all cataloged. And in a case like this, where you're not necessarily rushing, to put out a fire or something like that, it was all done in a very methodical way. You typically go through room by room to catalog all of that evidence.
The federal indictment of Sean Diddy Combs has been unsealed. His charges: stalking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
The indictment also alleges the 54-year-old maintained control over his victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, promising career opportunities, monitoring their whereabouts, and even dictating physical appearance.
The rapper Jay-Z has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000, allegedly along with Sean Diddy Combs. Our US correspondent Martha Kellner has the latest from Los Angeles.
This civil suit was originally filed back in October against Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy. It has now been amended to also include allegations against Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter. In this civil suit, a woman says that when she was a 13-year-old girl back in the year 2000, that she attended an after party for the MTV Video Music Awards, during which she says she was raped by Jay-Z and P. Diddy. She says that Jay-Z removed her clothes, pinned her down and raped her while P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity watched on. She says she was then raped by P. Diddy as Jay-Z and this female celebrity watched on once.
Justin Combs, you've been indicted with your dad. Now, ain't that something, God? Ain't that something how LeBron, right? And his son will be the first father-son to play a game in the NBA? And P. Diddy and his son will be the first father and son to get indicted and go to federal prison for messing with little boys. Ain't that about something? The apple don't fall too far from the tree, y'all, man. And I tell you all the time, man, you have to watch what you do around your kids because they're watching everything. And in his case, man, he watched what his dad did and his dad allowed him to do these things with him. But hey, man, he was named in that indictment yesterday with those 120 people. You dig what I'm saying? 25 of them being minors. But that's kind of crazy that a younger man would love a minor. But hey, man, I hope they was using condoms.
About 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say, less than 10 minutes ago. We got here even before the crime scene tape came up. So we're just down the hill. If you look up this street where Tony is right now to the right, you'll see one of those Bearcats and law enforcement. On the other side of those bushes, basically, is that home that is registered to Bad Boy Films, which is part of...
If any of these names caught you by surprise, hit that like button and let us know in the comments. Who shocked you the most? And who do you think is going to speak out next? We want to hear your thoughts. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter in this unfolding story. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.